Alright, do I look ridiculous? Yeah? Good, that was the point. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to John Dudley Speaks. I'm your host, 21. Columbus, Ohio alt-rock indie pop duo 21 Pilots, led by Tyler Joseph and Josh Dunn, have come a long way from their cover of Jar of Hearts from SoundCloud in 2010, and their contributions to the Church 514. After Regional at Best was released in 2011, their first as a duo, they gained the attention of Fueled by Ramen, which was under Elektra at the time, which was also under Atlantic at the time, and this exposure was partly due to the success of House of Gold. So Tyler and Josh naturally got the chance to expand their outreach on their spin of alt-rock, kicking off with the rap-infused Vessel in 2013. An amalgamation of genre hybrids, the album isn't perfect, but it's a great window into the level of talent that the duo had and still have to offer. Blurryface followed in 2015, and this launched 21 Pilots into the stratosphere of mainstream popularity, and although it's spottier than its predecessor, hits like Heavy Dirty Soul, Ride, and Stressed Out are totally inescapable still today. This album kickstarted something that fans are still entrenched in when it comes to the band's lore, and while I never found that side of their artistry to be all that appealing, I do think it's admirable that the duo pays so much attention in regards to the details surrounding it. Speaking of lore, Trench was released in 2018, and it is by far and away the best 21 Pilots album, deepening its songwriting concepts, themes, and overall world building to an immaculate effect, ultimately refining the band's sonic aesthetic and pushing it into a darker territory, with singles like Jumpsuit, The Hype, and My Blood, which is personally my favorite song of theirs. 2021's Scaled and Icy did find 21 Pilots missing the mark in a big way, diluting their sound to fit more of a pop framework, while Tyler's songwriting just lost a lot of its punch. But now that Clancy is out and we're back into the world of Trench, does 21 Pilots still have enough of an edge to pull us back into the musical template of their best record? I'm happy to say that they sorta do, but just don't expect a Trench 2. Rather than indulging in the glossy sheen of their previous record, 21 Pilots has made it clear through their singles on this rollout that they're trying to go back to their DIY production stylings, and Clancy has a ton of that, helped out a whole lot by the band's display of creativity. Overcompensate with a tone-setting intro akin to the Trench aesthetics is prime 21 Pilots with a killer groove and an outstanding chorus. The crunchy rhythm and the rap song delivery all meshing together in a way that complements the band's tried and true dynamics. Next Semester boasts a tense pop-punk energy that's instantly infectious, the mildly hardcore embellishments adding a layer of character to the instrumental. Midwest Indigo excellently plays into the band's strengths in the alt-rock landscape, with an escalating pace that highlights the core song at the heart of the production, the minimalism of the track beautifully on display. Vignette incorporates orchestral passages that are subtle yet effective in how they mix with Josh's drum patterns, and Lavish has a weird buzzing effect that oddly coalesces really well with the orchestral passages that are up in the mix compared to Vignette, offering an interesting musical contrast across the track listing. However, I did find the invitation of the modern pop and hip-hop stylings on this one to be a little rote in how they were executed compared to Trench and even Vessel. There's also pretty stock alt-rock tracks and downcast acoustic ballads that just don't really offer anything interesting, but it's not a major issue that throws off the entire record. And though the mixing at times can be a little disproportionate, amplifying Tyler's vocals, I'd say musically overall it's a pretty pleasant listening experience. Considering that this album caps off a nearly 10-year narrative that started with Blurryface, I'm sure there's a ton to unpack with concern to the lore that's exhibited on Clancy. And as a treat to fans, this is awesome seeing 21 Pilots being able to complete their vision on their own terms by their own design. But as a single piece of work, Tyler and co-producer Paul Meany's songwriting can be a little dodgy at times, with the melodies and song structures periodically lacking an enticing draw to them. Navigating is one of my least favorite tracks here structurally, as it comes off as a by-the-numbers millennial pop rock track, the repetitive hook becoming more and more of a slog as the track progresses. Tyler's writing on At the Risk of Feeling Dumb does hit on some important themes around connecting with your loved ones and making sure that they're okay, especially if you don't know what they might be going through. But I really felt like this was just a bland way of addressing this situation, and it doesn't really scratch beneath the surface of this idea. And I guess that's just my biggest overall problem with the writing on this album. It's aspirational tone. Generalized one-size-fits-all motifs are nothing new in alt-rock, especially from bands who became popular in the 2010s. But hearing a chorus like the one on Oldie Station or Paladin Straight reminded me of how dry these kind of tracks can feel if not explored with purpose and meaning. And that's not negating the high highs here, like the rap verse on Lavish or the cheeky humor of Snapback, or especially the emotional walkthrough of a panic attack in Next Semester, which all demonstrate Tyler and Paul's biggest strengths. Yet there's just one too many moments here that are barren enough to just make it not fully work.
Welcome back to Trash.
When it comes to 21 Pilots' last album, I'm of the mind that it was the worst that they've ever sounded in terms of their musicianship. So hearing them tighten up and lock in on Clancy is exciting, albeit unsurprising. The main issue with Tyler and Josh's performances on this one is an intermittent lack of energy from time to time, especially on Navigating, which is easily the most mechanical track on here. The acoustic tracks just didn't really connect in the way that they were supposed to, and there are spots here across the track listing where Tyler and Josh just coast in their usual alt-rock lane. It's nothing bad, it just comes off as a little boring. But then you have the unabashed vigor of Overcompensate and the raw delivery of Next Semester that leverage 21 Pilots' best tendencies, snowballing them into song compositions that are enveloping and blistering, something that's been missing from their music since Trench. Lavish and Vignette are also huge highlights here for Tyler and Josh, the sleek instrumentals matching the rap sum vocals quite nicely. So even though there are hiccups here and there, the duo puts in a lot of hard work to make sure that their talent is front of mind in each of these songs and it doesn't fall by the wayside.
I don't wanna.
At 47 minutes, I wouldn't say that this is an album that is a slog by any means, but there are identifiable moments where the fat could have been trimmed. I wasn't too much of a fan of the 6-minute closer as it began to drag, and songs like Backslide are just too generic to keep the momentum flowing at the beginning of the record. The majority of the tracks here are 3 minutes long though, so the duo does do a good job at staying efficient and making their points in a simple fashion across the album. But when they're derivative of themselves and offer nothing new for us to get into, this record does become very repetitive. Because of that, there's rarely a 3-track run that isn't hindered by uninteresting song compositions, filler material that's stale, or just themes that have a hard time connecting.
Welcome to the new way of living. It's just the beginning of Lavish.
Yeah, this is not my favorite 21 Pilots album by a long shot, and it is a far cry from the quality on Trench, which is slightly disappointing. But overall, that doesn't mean it's a bad or a mid-tier record, as it contains haunting musical moments and solid song ideas, but it just doesn't follow up on its own potential in the way that it should. But hey, that's just my perspective. If you're a 21 Pilots fan, I'm sure you're going to get a lot out of this one. And if you're in the mood for a slickly produced alt-rock concept record, this will fit the bill for sure. Alright, that's all I got. Bye!